Hello, this is a follow-up video to the one I posted a couple of days ago or yesterday maybe. I had a lot of views. So far it's tracking it about a little less than 10,000 views, but I already received about 277 comments and it's still going. The views and the comments are still going. And it has something to do with the Philippine Airlines, the reputation of Philippine Airlines, and how bad it really is, which I did not realize that to be the case. That's what we'll talk about. Stay with me. I posted a video based on the commentary by Panlasang Pinoy, what's his name, Mr. Verano, I think, and it's his fault because he was the one who brought it up about what happened to them on a Philippine airline trip to the Philippines. I'm just kidding. It's not your fault. I appreciate, and I'm sure everybody else appreciate the fact that you opened this up so that people will be aware of what is going on. Thank you so much. But the problem is this. Let me show you, first to give you, in retrospect, I only receive about 0.5% comment for the total views. This one is already tracking at 2.5% of all the total views, and it's still going up. So I was reading the comments and I said, oh my God, this is not an exception case. This is a common practice. Everybody experienced the same thing, and nothing is being done by Philippine Airlines. Wow. Let's not talk about the lost luggage, only because we cannot blame that on PAL. We don't know who is at fault. It could be some of the baggage handler. It could be from a flight prior to this flight because there was a connecting flight. So we're not going to criticize PAL about that. Although, because of the problem we had in the past, like what we call that laglag bala, you can blame people for thinking, gee, the airline is doing this again. But it's not necessarily the airline. It could be the baggage handlers, which could, and I don't know, which could also be employed by Philippine Airlines. I don't know. So let's not talk about that, but we'll talk about the other things. Someone also said, even if it's late, I always want PAL to succeed because it is our national carrier. It carries the name Philippines. It reflects on our country because it has the name of our country. So please help PAL to succeed. I will be the first one to tell you that I like Philippine Airlines to succeed. I'd like to be able to say a lot of good things about Philippine Airlines. But don't expect me to tell you good things when it's so obvious you see bad things. That's called false advertising. So, first thing is, PAL will have to help themselves clean this mess up before we can help them succeed. And I hope they will do that, and that is the purpose of this video. So now let's talk about those things that PAL should be able to do something about. Always late. I thought this, once in a while, flight could be delayed. So I thought this is normal, but then apparently everybody's complaining they're always late. They're always late. That's Philippine way of doing things. They have no perception of, I'm not generalizing here. I'm just telling you the truth that most of the time, actually I'm generalizing, but there are exceptions. Most of the time, there is no perception of time. In fact, sometimes if you go on an appointment and you're too early, they're surprised why you're too early, maybe, and in fact, you're just in time. And this is based on my experience myself, from Filipinos who are already here in the United States, and therefore they should be used to how things are done in the US. If you have a 12 o'clock appointment, be there at 12 o'clock. No, you have to be there at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock to be polite. That is the Philippine way. At least that's how it used to be, but apparently that's still how it is. Unfortunately, they're extending that to foreign services when they're servicing people from overseas and they do not have that kind of custom. They're not used to that. So, they should fix that. Always late. pilots, flight attendants should be there well ahead of time, well before the other passengers get in. At least on time, if not too early. Unfriendly flight attendants. It's so easy to smile, but this one I can live with. If they don't want to smile, that's fine. But what's amazing is these other foreign airlines. They have nice flight attendants, very courteous, very welcoming, very helpful. And apparently, I'm not saying this, because this one I did not observe, although they do not smile. Apparently, sometimes they're obnoxious, as if you're bothering them when they're getting paid by the passengers. That's bad. That's management training. That is management training that is required. Flight attendant, noisy and chatting, passengers can't sleep. Can you imagine that? Especially if you're towards the rear of the aircraft and they're out there in the so-called kitchen and they're just laughing and making noise that passengers can't sleep. They don't even need training for that. That's just common courtesy. Hey, people are sleeping. Let's keep our voice down. But again, airline management should make sure that those changes are implemented. Things that are easy to fix, but maybe habits that are hard to ingrain in these people's brains. Poor or non-functioning facilities, especially the toilet, okay? But we'll talk about that separately. I thought maybe this was just an exception that they got on board and they were not able to, the airline was not able to fix or was not aware that the tray, the video, the audio are not functioning. Well, guess what, guys? It is so easy to fix that problem. If you know, let's say it's too late, and you found out that, gee, this thing is not functioning, or from the previous flight, they reported that this seat is not functioning, guess what? Don't sell that seat. Don't. Leave it empty so that nobody gets inconvenienced, especially when they are paying top money. Even in the economy, they're charging so much. These people, this is not the only one. Panlasang Pinoy is only one. There were two or three other people who complained about exact same thing, which means they keep on loading the plane and making those seats, non-working seats, occupied. And all they have to do is to keep it unoccupied, then there's no problem. But why are they not doing that? Money. Whoa. Poorly maintained or unmaintained toilet facility. Oh my God, this is the worst. This is a long flight. It's not like you're flying for 1 hour, so you can hold on until you arrive at the airport for you to go to the toilet. But you're flying 24 hours a day or 8 hours or whatnot. You need to have a good facility. Also, some people are saying, oh gee, this is the fault of the passenger. Yes, it is. But it is still the fault of the airline, because if a passenger misuses the toilet, for example, my wife on the last time we used PAL, dirty stuff they put in a place as if it's the garbage can, not realizing that it is not. They have to be maintained by the flight attendants. They should clean it up, and if they want, they could make an announcement telling them, please use the bathroom, keep it clean, blah, blah, blah. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would recommend they do that. Then somebody also said, by the way, when you have this toilet facility not being cleaned or maintained, then you start thinking, as I mentioned in my previous video, you start thinking, gee, I wonder if this airplane is adequately maintained. We may crash because it's not maintained properly. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Somebody also commented that our pilots are better. We are the best. I don't dispute that at all. And this is based on my actual experience. I know that doctors in the Philippines are better educated than in the US. But of course, they lack the technology. If you give them the right technology in terms of education, they're better trained and better educated. Same thing with engineers. Same thing with pilots. So I don't dispute that a lot. But you can give a pilot a rickety airplane, not maintained, and guess what he can do? Nothing. That plane is going to go down. So I don't care how good a pilot is. That plane is going to go down. Somebody also said that, hey, gee, this is the problem with Filipinos, and this is true also, okay, that they bring so much luggage with them. Well, unfortunately, that is the custom of the Filipinos. They bring so much pasalubong. If you don't have pasalubong, you're looked upon as being bad. So obviously they'll have to bring so much home, whether if it's 1 piece or 2 pieces, just so there is pasalubong coming from overseas. Now the airline knows this, and they should compensate for it. Besides, I don't think these Filipinos are bringing more than the 2 luggages for check-in. That is allowed by the airline, so they should anticipate that. I heard somebody say that some of the luggages were not approved to be loaded into the carrier because there is no more space. Well, why not provide the space? Or if you don't have enough space, make sure the limit is only 1. But if you say you can bring up to 2 and you bring 2, why are you going to blame them? They're not to be blamed. Now, there are also some who said, and this is the blame and the fault of the passenger, they bring heavy stuff, meaning heavier than what is allowed. Then it sort of delays the check-in process because they have to open the box or the luggage and unload some things, or that's something else. Before we go, everything is loaded properly. Size of the box is according to regulation. Weight is according to the limit regulation. So as long as you follow those, then there is no reason for the airline to say, oh, gee, because there are so many people who brought these things in. Well, too bad. You know better than that. So I can understand listening to why it is happening, but I do not understand people saying, oh, gee, it's not the airline's fault because they brought so much stuff with them. As long as they're bringing stuff that is within the limitation imposed by the regulation of the carrier, they should be okay. It's the carrier's fault. So guys, I just wanted to broadcast this because it's unbelievable. Normally I only get 0.5%, 0.5% commentary, and this one I already got 2.5, and it's still going. It's still going. A lot of criticism. And I also realize, and that's why I encourage people, if you have positive thing to say about Paul, please do post it in the comment section. Because I know that when you are aggravated by something, you want to complain, you write. But when you're happy, everything is hunky-dory, you don't say anything. So if you think you had a good experience, please do post it so that what I'm seeing is not going to be biased towards the negative. Somebody also said, I think you're being negative. Well, guess what? Maybe I am. But I should be. Because people need to be aware of what is happening at Philippine Airlines. Okay? So thank you very much for watching. I'll appreciate your comments down below. And please do subscribe to my channel unless you have already done so. And click the subscription and notification bell down below. I will appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Make it a great day. And God bless.